It's another one. Let me get that.
Patience a lot. It's very George Michael. Sounds like he never left. He's been gone a long time, though.
Yeah, it really does. Classic George Michael. This is called Patience.
It's like a conversation where no one stops to breathe.
And George Michael on the phone. How are you?
I'm great. Great. Nice to speak to you.
Hey, very nice to talk to you. As a matter of fact, we were just listening to your CD. Listen to this. We just had it on here.
We've been listening all morning. We love
good.
it.
Excellent. Have you got any favorite tracks?
Yeah, you know, Vicky and I were talking about the song Patience.
Uh-huh.
That's my favorite so far. And number 7.
Number 7, which is My Mother Had a Brother, right? It's a slow one.
What's your
my
favorite?
favorites, actually. My Mother Had a Brother is probably my favorite on the album.
Jake, our producer, loves the title.
Yeah, it sounded very Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Seuss.
Well, hey, George, so happy to have you on our show here. Now, I know when you were on Oprah, that was your first television appearance in, I think they were saying 10 years.
Uh-huh.
Is this your first American radio appearance in some years?
Oh, it's definitely my first Atlanta radio. There you go.
Very good,
Got the
buddy.
exclusive in Atlanta.
Very nice to talk to you.
Elton's always telling me how great Atlanta is, actually.
And Atlanta loves you. I still, every time we were all talking about our favorite George Michael songs, and Careless Whisper, when I hear that, I have to turn it up so loud, and I cry, and I just love your voice in it, and the emotion, it's a wonderful song.
Did you have someone cheat on you that way, then?
And you know, I never did, but I can imagine that heartache.
I know. I mean, the funny thing is, for me about that song, I wrote it when I was so young. I wrote it when I was 17, so I didn't really know anything about love or relationships. I was kind of just guessing. People love that record, and obviously it's the most well-known of my songs. So I guess there must be lots of people cheating and relating to that record out there.
But then we have the happy song, Last Christmas.
Uh-huh. Well, that's not supposed to be happy. It just sounds cheerful.
It is Steve and Vicky on Star 94. George Michael is on the phone live from London this morning, and we continue our conversation with George.
And I have to tell you that I feel bad. I feel terrible about the media doing you a disservice, because I just assumed that you were out of the picture because of all the bad publicity you got after the whole restroom thing. And then you're on Oprah, and I hear about the tragic death of your partner and then your mother's death. And I was just crying on Oprah saying, I feel like I owe you an apology.
Well, what's really happened is that life's been very tough on me. God had a few lessons he wanted to teach me in the 90s, and he definitely did. I mean, I've learned from them. But I just didn't have the energy to let people know what was going on. And actually, in the rest of the world, you can survive on radio, with radio and video, you know. And the rest of the world, miraculously managed to keep a very successful career going outside of America without having to be there, you know. But with America, you have to be there. You just have to be there. You have to be there to promote your wares. And I fully understood that, and I understood why I wasn't on the radio. But absolutely, I don't think most American people had a clue why I was away. And it certainly wasn't about bad publicity, you know.
George, we won't get too deep in this conversation, but I am just curious if you can dovetail on that thought, since we're talking about it here. I mean, when I think about George Michael and how for years in the 80s, I mean, every 2 hours we were playing one of your songs. You were filling arenas, filling concerts wherever you went at the top of your game, and then something like this happens to you, and suddenly the bottom falls out. Can you take us through the mindset of how you recover from something like that?
What people seem to forget is that I stopped promoting in America a good 5 or 6 years before the arrest in Los Angeles. And people tend to think that I just disappeared and somehow that was what happened. But in fact, I hadn't even tried to promote because of the personal stuff that was going on with my first partner, and I hadn't been promoting anywhere from the beginning of the 90s. So I had deliberately let go of a lot of stuff, you know. And somehow, because obviously it was so newsworthy, I think people think I stayed away because of the arrest, which has got nothing to do with it at all. You know, I see the arrest as a really positive thing that happened in my life. You know,
why is that?
I just think being outed like that, even though I was out to all of my family and friends for a good 10 years before, because from the moment I knew I was gay and met my first partner at 27, I was completely open in my life. You know, and I certainly wasn't hiding it within my life. But I think it was taking more energy to keep my privacy intact than I was giving myself, than I gave it credit for. And since I've been outed myself that way, there's no question life's been better.
Yeah, the torment that you must have gone through, because you must have at some point said, wow, why didn't I just sit down and tell Rolling Stone?
Of course. But I was in a very strange place. It was like a year after my mother died, and I was full of anger and didn't understand why this had happened to me twice, And I think my relationship with the press, I mentioned something about why I was so angry with them on Oprah, but really I had reasons to be angry with the press as far as I was concerned, and I was too proud. I was too proud to let go of the issue. I just felt I was coping with it as everybody that knew me and cared about me, what I was being honest with. That seemed to be enough for me. But actually, it's been a great relief. It's a different thing when you walk into a room and everybody knows.
George, once you came out, was it as bad as you expected, or quite a relief?
7:52. We're having some fun this morning on the Steve and Vicky Show, talking with George Michael. He's got a new CD out called Patience, and he talks to us exclusively.
Let's switch gears a little bit. I'm a Beatles fanatic, and I think you are too. I think I remember. Did you not buy John Lennon's piano?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Wow.
I did. I'm sitting looking at it right now.
Are you really? Are you at your home in London?
No, it's at the office. It's here at the office.
Did you use it?
Don't tell anybody that.
Okay. Yeah, right. I'll be there tomorrow with a big truck. Did you use it in any of the production on this current CD?
Yeah, the first track, Patience, is played on John Lennon's piano. Yeah, it's played on the piano that he wrote Imagine on.
Oh, man.
Wow. And are you good friends with Elton John? He's actually a good friend of the morning show here with a home here in Atlanta. And I would think, and during all the turmoil that you had, that you would have turned to him, because even though he had different kinds of struggles, that he would have been a source of help for you.
Well, I mean, he called me with his support. In all honesty, I think, again, the people, because we're both gay, people over-associate the... we are friends, and we've seen each other on and off over the years, but we don't really hang out. And I think Elton, we're not really in the same circle, and also his experience of gay life is pretty different to mine, I think. But he was very supportive.
Now, you're in a very successful relationship right now. I have to ask you...
8 years. We just had our eighth anniversary.
Congratulations. Is it true that everything is bigger in Texas?
I'd say so.
Why is his boyfriend? I don't get that. Is your boyfriend from Texas?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Okay. I don't get the memos.
And you're you got to get on the e-letter.
I got to get on the email list.
Go to the Cher concert. It'll all make sense.
All right. Which of your older songs makes you turn the radio off? Is there?
Ooh, I've never been that keen on... There was a really early Wham song called Bad Boys, which is terrible. But of the successful singles, I'd say probably I Want Your Sex, probably.
You're kidding!
No, of the successful ones, that's the one that I don't really... Because I think it's too much... For me, it was an exercise trying to get out of one market into another,
What I remember about that is the rumor that the woman in the video was really your lover, and that you were having this big fight, and obviously none of that was true.
Well, the thing is that we were together, but the fact that we had the big fight was nothing to do with the video. Absolutely nothing to do with the video.
And after that, wasn't it like George will never be in any one of his videos again?
Well, it was actually, for a while there, I really didn't think I wanted to continue doing anything, My head was so screwed up after the Faith tour that I really didn't know if I wanted to do it again. So but I did know by then that I knew that I was gay, and I was also, I also realized I was quite lusted after by American, but actually by people all over the place, and I felt that was kind of, at that point I started to feel like a hypocrite, which would have been one of the reasons I didn't want to make the videos anymore.
Because I loved you. I swore that you were straight, and you would want me if you ever met me one day.
You thought we were going to get married, right?
I did. And now you want Steve. It's always Steve.
You never know. Maybe I just haven't met the right girl yet. You never know.
I'm glad that you're happy now and you've got the new CD out. Are you going to be touring? Are you going to venture that way? Or are you just still taking baby steps?
I'm kind of trying to see how I feel in terms of how it is, how being back in the spotlight is for me, because I've been away for quite a while. And I'll see. The tour is a possibility next year.
George Michael with us on the Steve and Vicky Show. My daughter's first concert was coming to see you here in Atlanta. That was the first concert I ever took her to.
Really?
She
in the
loved
stadium,
you.
right? At the old Turner Field. At the old, right?
Yeah, Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, yeah.
And actually,
That's right.
Julia Roberts, it was like one of the first interviews she had ever done for Mystic Pizza and for Steel Magnolias, and she begged us for tickets to that concert.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had Julia Roberts sitting, because she's from here. And yeah, that first movie was coming out, Mystic Pizza. Nobody knew Julia Roberts. We hired.
Well, I met her a couple of years ago, and she did say she was a fan, but I didn't believe her.
Well, now you know it's true.
Now I know, yeah.
So it strikes me that you don't fall for much of the Hollywood showbiz. You're not going to all these parties kind of guy anyway.
No, I'm not the kind of person who calls my publicist and asks where I should be seen. No. I stay well away from all of that. I think that's the only way to stay sane.
Where do you like to vacation?
Well, I haven't actually had a proper one for years, but I like the south of France. I like Italy. Europe, really. I prefer Europe. I'm not really a sun worshipper anymore.
Trying to stay out of the sun these days?
So,
That skin,
yeah.
that beautiful skin.
No, I know. Yeah, well, the thing is, that's the thing. I spent half my life in my 20s on a sunbed, so now my skin has paid the price as far as I'm concerned. But I like my wrinkles.
You know, George, a lot of people do your songs. Dinah DeGarmo and Fantasia Barrino on American Idol performed I Knew You Were Waiting on the final show. Did you see that?
Oh, I didn't know she did that. Did she really? She won, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Right?
So you did watch occasionally?
I just saw it. We do get American Idol over here as well. I just saw some of the kind of last few weeks, and you couldn't get away from it when you're in America. So I heard that. But I thought the girl had a great voice.
So, George, any contact lately with Andrew Ridgeley ever?
Yeah, I see him quite a lot, actually. I just had lunch with his a partner of 14 years, and I see him quite often. He lives in Cornwall. It's 4 hours drive away, so we don't see each other that much, but we do get together, and I spent New Year with him.
Is he still into auto racing?
No, he's got much more sedate. He's into golf now.
Oh, really? How about
He
that?
went from auto racing to windsurfing and now golf.
Wow. And what's your sport? Do you have one? A passion?
Well, I used to play squash. I used to love to play squash, which is what you call racquetball, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I used to do that, but actually I had back surgery a few years ago, which stopped me doing that. I'm creaking now.
You're creaking?
Well, we know that you've got that fabulous piano in your office right now. What else are you looking at in your office as we speak?
Well, I'm looking at my manager wiping his nose.
That's nice.
I'm looking at if you ever saw the video for Fast Love, that chair that I'm sitting in for Fast Love, that's in here.
Oh, okay.
And, and a nice summer's day, really, other than that.
Very good. Any other Beatles memorabilia that you own?
No, just that piano. It was just that I thought was special.
I'm sure that, well, it certainly is, but and I'm sure that cost a pretty penny, too.
Yeah, it was about $1.5 million.
Huh.
Oh, actually, in dollars, what's that? Right now, that's about...
$1.5 million.
$6 million, yeah. The dollar stinks over there.
The dollar, we get almost $2. So that, at the moment, that's nearly $3 million.
And can you hang out in Europe and without people coming up to you or do they still... No?
Not really, no. I mean, it's much easier for me in America because, obviously, like I said, my career kind of had a full stop there, whereas it didn't in the rest of the world. So I just have to choose my places, really. Be careful, you know.
Well, George...
Stay away from large crowds.
George, thank you very much. Always a pleasure. And come see us here in Atlanta.
All right, thanks very much. Nice to speak to you.
George, I'm Tom Sullivan. Say my name.
You're who? Tom Sullivan.
Tom, yeah. Very good. Best of luck.
Take care. Bye.
He said your name. Are you happy now?